Christi here, Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am out on my patio. I'm going to be starting some heat tolerant summer flowers for the flower bed back here and then the one that's in the front. Currently I have some spring and some summerish flowers growing within these spaces. However, the spring stuff is going to start fizzling out because it is really heating up outside, and the summer stuff that's in there usually ends up falling prey to powdery mildew, so I have to kind of replace it as the summer goes on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these started today. I'm actually starting them a little bit later than I meant to, but life has a funny way of getting in the way of the things that you want to do. So I am going to be starting, I think it is like 20 varieties of seeds. I can't really remember. We're gonna go over it. I will try to include pictures of them as I kind of read them out. That way you guys can kind of see where my head is at in terms of these different things. I wanted to get some heat tolerant stuff in there that is kind of like bright, happy, summery colors. And I also wanted some kind of bouquet, kind of filler flower type things going on. So that's what is going to be planted. A lot of this stuff self-seeds really easily, so once I plant it, I may not have to plant it again. We will see. From today, they should be able to be transplanted out sometime in June, hopefully within the next 6 weeks or so. I'm just going to leave these trays on my patio. I have a metal shelf over here that I've had out here for a couple of months now that I used to kind of harden off plants and stuff. So I'm just gonna see if seed starting works out well on that instead of trying to move it back inside and set up the lights, all of that stuff. We'll see how this goes. This is kind of an experiment. So let's go over these varieties really quick, and then we'll get planting. So first off, I have 3 different varieties of Celosia growing up front already. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but I'm going to be starting a new one for the flower bed up there, and that is going to be Dragon's Breath Celosia. And you guys, if you have watched many videos in the past, you'll know that I like growing things with dragon in the name. I don't really have a reason other than all the books I read about dragons. Then I have a couple of varieties of amaranth that I'm going to be starting. I'm going to be starting Elephant Head because elephants are my favorite animal, and Love Lies Bleeding because this one is kind of droopy and kind of reminds me a little bit of dreadlocks. So it's kind of fun. It'll add a different kind of visual component to the wild and insane garden out there. Then I have several varieties of cosmos. Now these typically grow very well for me. They are definitely a plant and forget type flower. Super easy to grow. The flowers are really cute. So the first one is going to be Sonata Purple Shades. I grew this one last year and really enjoyed it. Then we have Rosetta, and I really like this one. And then we have Seashells, and if you look at the petal shapes, they're a little bit different than the Rosetta, so you have a little bit of a contrast in terms of flowers going on out there. And then this one I received in a seed swap, but it is single sensation and it is a mixed packet, so whatever blooms will be a surprise. And then last I have Versailles Red. So I'm planting purples and pinks and reds and then yellows, as you'll see throughout here, because those colors really remind me of summer. And I had some hummingbirds flitter through here the other day, so I decided I needed to keep some red stuff going within the flower beds. So the next thing that I'm going to be growing, I'm actually going to plant this up here on the patio in the container that used to hold my aloe, and this is going to be mullein. So then we have some sunflower varieties, and the ones that I'm starting specifically for the flower beds are going to be dwarf varieties. The thing about seed starting sunflowers is they're not going to get as big as they would if you direct sow them for whatever reason. It just kind of keeps them more compact. But These dwarf ones, there's a couple of containers in the front that I would like to put something into, and then the rest I'll just kind of scatter throughout the flower bed. I'm trying to have some different heights and things going on because right now I have a lot of really tall stuff, so hopefully some of these will be more compact than what the seed packets say they should, since I'm starting them, and then, you know, we'll have some varying heights and things. So the first one is Dwarf Incredible, and I got this in a seed swap, so there's only a few of these. I don't know if they'll germinate, but we shall see. Then we have Little Becca. It says these get to 2 to 3 foot tall. Since I'm starting them, I expect probably 1.5 foot maybe. And then we have Smiley Sunflower, and this one is 13 to 16 inches tall, so I'm expecting maybe 1 foot tall. Then Teddy Bear Sunflower. I like the frilly flower heads on these, so that was why I wanted to plant them. And then we have quite a few zinnias, of course. Zinnias are another flower that is super easy to grow. Unfortunately, it loves powdery mildew, or rather, powdery mildew loves zinnia. So what I have growing out there is currently in the throes of being completely decimated by powdery mildew. I'm attempting to treat it to kind of prolong its life, but I have backups coming. So Carmine Rose, which is a pinkish tone, Giant Coral, then we have Salmon Rose, Giant Scarlet, Deep Red. These are currently growing in my front flower bed, and they are absolutely beautiful. Actually, most of these are growing in my front flower bed, and they are so pretty. Even my husband is like, these flowers are so gorgeous. So then we have just a Giant Purple, and then Giant Wine. So all of these should get us through the heat of the summer whenever stuff starts to fizzle out, and you know, those 100-degree temperatures and such really start taking a toll on the rest of the garden. Hopefully the flower bed is able to keep its beauty, but let's go ahead and get these planted, y'all. All right, I have two 32 cell seed trays that already have soil in them. They are about halfway full of water to keep the soil moist. Everything is labeled. The potting soil that I'm using is Fox Farm Happy Frog. I have used this with a lot of great success. The other one that I use is also a Fox Farm product. It's called Ocean Forest. Whenever I got the Happy Frog, I couldn't find Ocean Forest. So you can kind of interchange those if you can't find one or the other. They're both fantastic for seed starting, and for also the rest of your gardening needs. So Celosia, it looks like I'm going to be starting 4 of these. And then 2 elephant head amaranth, 2 love lies bleeding, blah 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 blah. 4 of each type of sunflower, and then 4 of each type of the Veneries giant zinnias. So these Celosia seeds are super tiny, so I'm just going to surface sow them and then just kind of press them into the soil. So I'll go ahead and I'll take care of that really quickly. All right, but that is all I have for you today. There will be more seed starting as the summer progresses. We need to start thinking about the fall garden, what crops we're going to be growing, and get everything ready for that. I do already have my list made out. I will try to let you guys know what I'm planning on for the fall garden here soon. But again, there will be seed starting videos for all of that coming up probably starting at the end of July. Otherwise, if you liked today's seed starting video and you want to continue to see seed starting content, please like, subscribe, comment, do all those different YouTube things. Otherwise, until next time, go laze around like the dog over there, or go find a way to get your garden manicures. Bye!